Israel requests a king. As Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons to be judges over Israel. Joel and Abijah, his oldest sons, held court in Beersheba. But they were not like their father, for they were greedy for money. They accepted bribes and perverted justice. Finally, all the elders of Israel met at Ramah to discuss the matter with Samuel. "Look," they told him, "you are now old, and your sons are not like you. Give us a king to judge us, like all the other nations have." Samuel was displeased with their request and went to the Lord for guidance. "Do everything they say to you," the Lord replied, "for it is me they are rejecting, not you. They don't want me to be their king any longer. Ever since I brought them from Egypt, they have continually abandoned me and followed other gods, and now they are giving you the same treatment. Do as they ask, but solemnly warn them about the way a king will reign over them." Samuel warns against a kingdom. So Samuel passed on the Lord's warning to the people who were asking him for a king. "This is how a king will reign over you," Samuel said. "The king will draft your sons and assign them to his chariots and his charioteers, making them run before his chariots. Some will be generals and captains in his army. Some will be forced to plow in his fields and harvest his crops, and some will make his weapons and chariot equipment. The king will take your daughters from you and force them to cook and bake and make perfumes for him. He will take away the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his own officials. He will take 1/10 of your grain and your grape harvest and distribute it among his officers and attendants. He will take your male and female slaves and demand the finest of your cattle and donkeys for his own use. He will demand 1/10 of your flocks, and you will be his slaves. When that day comes, you will beg for relief from this king you are demanding, but then the Lord will not help you." But the people refused to listen to Samuel's warning. "Even so, we still want a king," they said. "We want to be like the nations around us. Our king will judge us and lead us into battle." So Samuel repeated to the Lord what the people had said, and the Lord replied, "Do as they say, and give them a king." Then Samuel agreed and sent the people home.
Where is my other phone? First Samuel chapter 8. Hold on a minute. Let me just charge everything up. It's First Samuel chapter 8. I just read. First Samuel chapter 8 recounts the Israelites' request for a king to rule over them despite the warnings and concerns raised by Samuel. It highlights the dangers of seeking earthly rulers and the importance of wholehearted alliance to God as our ultimate king. During this time, Samuel served as a judge and prophet over Israel. As Samuel grew older, the Israelites became disconnected with his leadership and desired a king like the surrounding nations. Samuel warned them of the consequences of having a human king, but they persisted in their own requests. First Samuel chapter 8 teaches us several important lessons. Number 1, danger of earthly kings. The desire for as an earthly king displayed a lack of trust and faith in God, his ability to lead and protect his people. The Israelites were warned that human kings would impress them, taking the resources and subjecting them to their own will. This serves as a reminder that placing our trust in earthly rulers can lead to disappointment and harm. Number 2, God is the ultimate king. The Israelites' request for a king was seen as a rejection of God's kingship over them. It raises the need for the Israelites to recognize and acknowledge God as their ultimate king, the one who should guide and govern their lives. It reminds us that God alone deserves our unwavering alliance and loyalty. Number 3, the consequences of human choices. Despite Samuel's warnings, the Israelites persisted in their desire for a king. The decision had long-lasting consequences for the nation, leading to struggles and challenges in the years to come. It teaches us the importance of carefully considering the potential outcomes of our choices and seeking God's guidance before making important decisions. 1 Samuel chapter 8. The application here are practical applications we can draw from 1 Samuel chapter 8. 1. Trust in God's guidance. Place your trust in God's guidance and leadership in your life and recognize He is the ultimate King and sovereign over all. Seek His will and direction in your decisions, trusting that He knows what is best for you. And number 2, guard against false alliances. Be cautious of placing your trust in alliance in earthly rulers or systems. While it's important to respect and obey government authorities, remember that their power is limited and imperfect. Keep your focus on God as your ultimate authority and rely on Him for our guidance and protection. And consider the consequences before making important decisions, considering the potential consequences, and seek wise counsel. And take time to weigh the options and align your choices with God's principles and values, and seek to make decisions in honor and glorify God, even if they may go against popular opinion. In summary, 1 Samuel chapter 8 teaches us the dangers of seeking earthly kings, the importance of recognizing God as our ultimate King, and the consequences of human choices. We can practically apply these lessons by trusting in God's guidance, guarding against false alliances, and carefully considering the consequence of our decisions. May we always acknowledge God as our true King and seek to honor Him in all areas of our lives.